multiple jobs guys have to go through. You don't see those feminists vying for those positions, do you? They'll say we need equality in STEM, but they don't really want to be lumberjacks, and they don't really want to go and clean out the garbage and be a garbage truck person. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because it's more about like narcissism. Because the thing is, I'm personally I'm personally medical sciences, so I actually am a STEM student. But the thing is, a lot of these feminists who go on and on about how, oh, we need more women in STEM, we need more women in STEM. Those women not to go to STEM. So it's more like this sort of narcissistic, like, look at me, I am such a wonderful woman. I break down all these glass barriers and push my sisters up. When in reality, they're really just bitching. And honestly, the thing is, I always found funny is that feminists, they'll make this analogy where essentially, I noticed once on the Sam Cedar podcast, they talked about this, where one of his assistants was like, oh, well, back in the day, they used to treat women like chattel. They used to treat women like chattel, talking about in the context of the West. And I'm just like, whoa, wait a second. Dude, even if you go back to like Athenian and back to Greek times with the ancient Athenians who weren't very nice to their women, they women as during the Atlantic, or put us on a pedestal. We didn't have to work. We didn't have to worry about being harmed. And in fact, they were so devoted to protecting us that even just based on the accusation of rape, they would literally kill people.
Right. I mean, you think back to like wartime, like women saying, oh, we're so oppressed, we don't get to do anything. Women have done things throughout the centuries. They were nurses. They were advisors to their husbands. They had all kinds of jobs. Or I not in a sense of like of a career of what we think of today, but women have always helped out. They've always been there. And half the time when women complain about, oh, there's not enough women writing science fiction or whatever, or when they do, they have to write under a male name. Well, I don't know a lot of women who read that genre. Most of them go for like romance or historical fiction. They always want to invade male territories. It's like they're not satisfied to have their own territories. They have to invade all the male territories so that nothing's really sacred anymore. Look at Boy Scouts. The boys aren't even allowed to have the Boy Scouts anymore. Women want to invade that too. It's not enough. It's like their egos are telling them it's not enough that we have our own spaces. We have our own Girl Scouts. We are being oppressed if we're not allowed to invade that which is not ours. And most of those spaces are spaces where boys are taught how to be men by other men. So if you invade those spaces and the boys don't have those male icons and male idols to look up to, then they don't learn how to be men. So it's just this vicious circle. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I've noticed with intersectionality in general, is you see the same thing with Black people. There's this quote, I can't remember who he was. He played in Scrubs, I think it was, some show. He was on the Golden Globes, and he said, oh, we need to bust up all white spaces. We need to bust up all white spaces. So there is this mentality of like, I have to be included in every single thing, and the second you don't include me in anything, that means you hate me, even if it's just something that's not for you. Like a perfect example, like one example of this is that I would go on Twitter back in the day, and I don't really use Twitter anymore. I'm just like, screw it.
Yeah, I go on there like two times a day now.
Yeah. I closed my account like back in like early December. I'm just like, nope, I'm done. And now I just use Gab. But anyway, where was I going with that? What did I just say?
Intersectionality, Scrubs, invading white spaces. It's not enough for them to have their own spaces. If I'm not allowed in this one space, they hate me.
Oh, yeah. There's this attitude that's like, I have to be in every single thing, and if you don't like it, that means you must hate me. And an example of that was that there was one thing, this isn't a perfect example. This isn't really an example of it, but the thing is, I was on Twitter, and I always noticed this thing called hashtag Black Girl Magic, and Black Girl Magic, and there was a reverse hashtag called hashtag White Girl Magic, and then there was always Black women who would go on to this hashtag and complain like, oh my God, you don't have, and honestly, I didn't like the idea of just like us taking Black Girl Magic and just putting white there. So I came up with the idea of feminium. And what that means is it's a mixture of the Latin word femina and ium, which means something that's derived from Latin. So it's supposed to be in reference to how Greek and Roman civilization were the cradles of white civilization. And the thing is, even as I came up with it, I can just imagine so many like Black feminist women just flipping out at just the idea of having a white sisterhood, having something that's for us.
Well, if they're not allowed in, then it's oppression. That's the way it's been spun for so long. I mean, if whites have their spaces with anything, according to this new article, I can't remember who even published it, came out earlier this week. If white men aren't looking around and saying, there's too many white faces here, we need to fix that, then there's something ultimately wrong with them. If we don't sacrifice our spaces that have been previously occupied us, made by us, for our own lineage, and destroy them by allowing in other people who don't even have the same interests and have no interest in keeping the longevity of it for our own progeny, then they just get destroyed. And that's really the goal these days. It's not really about inclusion. It's just about ousting whitey. That's what it is these days. Anybody who tells you otherwise just hasn't been at the brunt end of it.